Welcome to the Living Stretch. This is the Wednesday edition of the podcast. This is basically league news, what's going on around the league, excluding a lot of the Cardinal news. Cardinals probably get into this one just a little bit. But my name is Alex Schneider, along with my good friend and co-host.
Once again, Alex, it's good to be back. My name is Paul Eppy.
Finally, man, the connection on your side was a little bit iffy today. Didn't know if we would get it in today.
You know, I'm scrolling through this, and we had some technical difficulties, and I called you 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 8th time I've tried to call you on Google Hangouts to see if it works. So it took us a good 8 or 9 tries. Sure enough, here we are. Better late than never.
Yeah, trying to get this video in for you guys with busy schedules and technical difficulties. Google Hangouts was actually good there for a long time, and then now
it was wonderfully, just beautiful. I mean, it was just total peaches for a good couple months, and then now we had this issue. So let's hope that this doesn't happen again, because that was a pain in the butt. Anyway, on to baseball.
Just real quick, on a quick update, in case you guys didn't know, the Cardinals did play 2 games today. They won the first one, and the second one is actually going as we are recording this video. Like I said, there are going to be a couple Cardinal notes and news in this one just real quick, because Paula talked to me before the show, and we are actually going to discuss a lot of the trade deadline and teams that are involved. So, Paul, I'm going to let you start it, and we'll just I'll just follow you in the discussion.
Just one quick note: I was at the Cardinals' first game today on Wednesday, the day part of the day night doubleheader, and guess how many people were there, Alex?
I would say like 1,000.
11,000 people. It was unbelievable. They had the whole top sections closed. Everyone was sitting in the first, like the main bowl of the stadium, or like the bleachers. It was really cool. It was a very unique experience going to a Cardinals game, but basically having nobody there. Anyway, so we're going to go on the trade deadline stuff. This is going to be a pretty short show because we don't have too much to talk about. I just want to get into the teams that we can expect to be making moves, some of the players we can expect to be dealt, and then we'll also touch on the Cardinals very briefly, but we'll get into them, more on Sundays. But Alex, the names that have been tossed around the most by far so far this trade season is the Yankees bullpen. Dylan Betances, their 7th inning guy, Andrew Miller, their 8th inning guy, and Aroldis Chapman, their 9th inning guy, are all very much open to trade. The most likely candidates to be traded are Miller and Chapman. Those names have been tossed around the most. And to me, it seems like every team wants them. Any team that is contending for a playoff spot could probably use the bullpen help, Cardinals included. We all know that. So it's going to be interesting, because there are probably going to be teams getting in a bidding war over bullpen pieces, and you don't see that very often. They are very good bullpen pieces. They some of the best in the league, if not probably the 2 best in the league. But you don't see teams offering an arm and a leg for a bullpen piece, and we're probably going to be seeing that this season.
Yeah, and another big thing is the Yankees manager, and then I believe it's the owner or the general manager are going kind of back and forth, because the manager or the GM. It's the GM, between the GM and the owner. The GM wants to sell, but the owner still thinks that they can contend, so he's wanting to buy. So there's a lot of that.
The interesting thing about that is that the Yankees are at 500. Quickly answer this question for me. Do you think they can contend? I don't think they can.
I mean, I think they can. They have one huge problem, and they owe him too much money to sit him. And that's Alex Rodriguez. I mean, He almost has to play. That's your huge problem, because without Alex Rodriguez, Carlos Beltran can DH for you. You can put another outfield in there, and Carlos Beltran raked in the DH spot. I feel like,
and he still is raking in the DH spot.
Exactly. Alex Rodriguez, I believe, is single-handedly killing that team right now.
His contract is eating him up, and so is Mark Teixeira's. Their team is just really old. And that's the reason they want to get rid of these bullpen guys, is that they want young talent. And that's what they're going to get, because they're like we said, they're really good, and they're going to fetch a good talent. But yeah, the Yankees are just. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I haven't looked, but my guess is that the Yankees are one of the oldest, if not the oldest team in the league.
Yeah, I know everybody on their infield except for their second baseman. Do you know who plays second base for the Yankees right now?
Is that what's his face in the Cubs?
Oh yeah, Starlin Castro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I couldn't think of that.
And then Didi Gregorius is at short, and I guess A-Rod or Chase Headley is over at third.
It's been Chase Headley because A-Rod's been DHing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you put it the best. They are a really, really old team. The Mark Teixeira's contract is killing them. A-Rod's contract is killing them. A-Rod had a great season last year, but he's not producing like he did last year.
To be fair, though, he is 41 years old by now. You can't expect every 40-year-old to be putting up David Ortiz numbers.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to look at it that way, I believe that's like a two-blade sword. If you're going to look at it like, oh, I'm 40 years old, I can't really play that well then don't be 40 years old and expect to play every day.
That's true.
You have to kind of take the good with the bad. You DH, so no matter what, you only really hit only anyway. So if that's the case, take some days off. Let Beltran get some days off. Let him swing the stick for a couple days, and then let him play the outfield for a couple days, and then bring A-Rod back. But yeah, I totally agree with you. And then on to the bullpen thing. Yeah, I mean, I think the bullpen is more – how do you want to say this? More important now than it's ever been. Mm-hmm. Pitchers aren't going 7, 8, 9 innings all the time anymore. We're kind of to the point that if a pitcher gives you 6 innings, you're
pretty good.
Perfect. Yeah, you're doing really well, and you hand it off to your bullpen and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you see a lot of guys building up a bullpen, and that's exactly what the Yankees are doing. They had that idea that if my starters can go at least 6 innings – excuse me, Dylan Betances, Andrew Miller, and Chapman can close it out.
And all of a sudden, it's a 6-inning game, and you're going to win a lot of games doing that.
Well, that's what they thought, and then Aroldis Chapman's kind of fallen off.
Right.
He's actually not doing too hot this year, to be honest. But, yeah, I think the bullpen's going to come through more than it ever has, and I think the Cardinals should be interested in Miller or Chapman.
Absolutely. And that's a good segue. So we'll just talk about the Cardinals now. Their biggest need is bullpen. And like I said, we'll get into this more on Sunday. But their biggest need is bullpen. Do you see them going after, somebody from the Yankees? I personally don't, because I don't want to offer up somebody on the major league roster to go get a damn bullpen piece. As good as they are, I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I think if you're, like you said, they're going to want young help. So they're going to probably want, a young, up-and-coming third baseman probably, because Chase Headley's kind of getting up there in age as well. Or a young outfielder, which would probably mean Jeremy Hazelbaker, if I had to guess, the way he was performing. A lot of people would probably want to see Colton Long gone, but I don't know if that would happen with his performance. I don't think any team really wants to pay his salary. And I really don't think that the Cardinals are giving up on him yet.
No, they're not. Not at all.
Yeah, so you're probably talking about somebody like Greg Garcia. I don't know who our up-and-coming third baseman is. I know we've talked about him before, and he's kind of a stud. Jeremy Hazelbaker, those are all good pieces. Randall Grichuk might even be in that too. And I don't feel like giving up those pieces either, because I feel like with the team – with the position players we have, I think we can win.
Oh,
with
for sure.
With the bullpen, I'm not really sure. I think things have to change. If you can change them within the team, do that. If not, then trade.
Sure. I don't think I need a starter with Alex Reyes being right on the edge of the horizon. I don't see him needing a starter. And I'm not sure, to be honest with you, a bullpen piece like Betances, Miller, or Chapman's really going to help that much. Now, yes, it'll help, and it's going to stabilize things. But when it comes to wins and losses, I'm not sure it's going to make a huge difference, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I don't think that we need a pitching piece, because I think our rotation we have now is actually doing really well.
Oh, right.
So I don't think a rotation piece is smart, but I think any bullpen helped to make the game basically end earlier with now closing games. You got the steady Broxton. You got I want to say McGee, but that's not it. Oh, what's his name?
Who? Segrist?
No, double play
Manus?
guy. Manus.
Yeah, Manus.
Manus. You have Manus and you have Broxton out there. I honestly think that you could be okay with that being your 7, 8, and 9 guy.
Mhm.
I mean, to be honest, with Segrist coming back, I think that's just a bonus. And I don't think I wouldn't. Here's what I would say: I wouldn't have Rosenthal pitch another game until he goes down to AAA and figure out whatever's wrong.
Yeah, and that's something I want to touch on Sunday is more Rosenthal. Essentially, there's been a little more chatter about having him go down to Memphis. I think it's a completely logical thing. They did it with Long. They did it with Grichuk, and it seems to have worked for them. So why does that? So that should extend to your bullpen too. There's no reason he can't go down there even for a week and just throw some innings, get his confidence back up, get whatever his mechanics or whatever he needs to get figured out, and come back ready to go. I don't see a big problem with that.
Like you said, though, I don't want to get too much into it. I know we have a lot of other things to get into, but that definitely is kind of a teaser into Sunday's podcast. Hopefully the Google Hangouts doesn't give us a bit of a fit. But yeah, I do completely agree with you. I think if it goes to the position players, you should go for your bullpen as well. But I mean, I don't want to add too much onto that. Real quick, I know another thing, just the only thing that I really had that I can remember for just the overall league news, there's actually two things. I just remembered one. Both of them were about the Red Sox. Red Sox, first off, have been making deals, have been making trades, have been going out and getting things done. They know that they're contending and they need some pitching help. They got Drew Pomeranz, who was a all-star this year.
All-star. He's having a fantastic season.
Yeah, he was an all-star. Some people, including me and Paul, didn't think that he was as worthy as some other candidates.
But still a good pitcher nonetheless.
Still a good pitcher nonetheless. He actually he was supposed to pitch tonight and did not pitch too well in his debut. But basically the point that I'm trying to make with that is they're going out and adding pieces. They know that they're going to contend. They know that they're going to be there in the end. So they're adding pieces. They're getting things done now. That way, dealing with the whole trade deadline next week is kind of out of the way for them as long as they can make some moves right now. Mm-hmm. And then another report that I saw was that Buster Olney, I believe, said that it's going to be hard for David Ortiz to finish the 2016 season. Apparently, his feet are a huge problem for him. I
had read that headline. I didn't read too much into it.
I didn't either. I think David Ortiz can do it. I mean, if there's anybody who can do it, it'll be Ortiz. I
don't think he's going to be saying to the manager, "Oh, don't play me." No, he's going to be wanting to play every day, and he's DHing. I know he's 40 and he's been playing a long time, but how much can a DH affect your feet? You're only if you're standing at the plate 3 times a game, 3 or 4 times a game. It's not like you're on base running the base pass 3 or 4 times. You'll ground out at a time, or you go 0 for 4. It's not like you're on your feet as a DH the entire game.
Well, no, but I think it's more of a comfortability thing. When you're up to the plate, you don't want your feet hurting. And
right, that is. It's easier said than done. I understand that.
And then real quick, another thing that I just remembered too. Basically, that's all I have for the Red Sox. I don't know if you have anything else for that.
For the Red Sox.
But for my pick to click on winning the AL Central, the Indians are having interest in the Brewers catcher Jonathan Lucroy. That came across my phone today via Buster Olney again, I believe, because he does that for ESPN. Excuse me. Good riddance to Jonathan Lucroy. I do not like him at all. Yeah, he's an okay catcher and all this kind of stuff, but I don't like him ever since he put up that feud with the Cardinals a couple years ago.
Yeah,
thinking that he's a better catcher than Yadier Molina. That
was kind of a big load of BS. I still like him as a catcher. I think he's a good catcher. It's not like he's awesome with a bat in his hands or awesome behind the plate, but he's really solid, and I think he could add a lot to the Indians. And if they were to go get him, well, then it could be pretty scary because they're already a pretty complete team, it seems like. So that'd be kind of scary if I were an American League team, the Royals or the Tigers. He's been one of the names that has been listed as possible trade candidate. Yeah, I mean, if I'll say this to wrap up my point on him. Wherever he goes, he's going to have an impact, and that's what is the draw to him.
Yeah, I agree.
I have two more quick points, and then I'm pretty much finished. Number one, the starting pitcher that has gotten the most attention this trade deadline season so far has been Rich Hill from the A's. If you've never heard of him, join the bandwagon, because most people have not heard of him before this season. He was pretty much a no man's land type pitcher. He's like 36 years old now. He's never been very relevant before this season, but he's having a renaissance year for Oakland. His ERAs, I think, is in like 2.3, 2.4, something like that. He's been battling some injury issues this season, I think with a blister in his thumb or in his hand. But he has been the starting pitcher that is talked about most. And it sort of is the same thing with the bullpen, is that, or with the bullpen from the Yankees, sorry, is that he's going to have an impact wherever he goes, and he's drawing a lot of attention, and there's going to be a lot of teams offering a lot for him. And he's just going to be a half-year rental.
How do I want to approach this? I'm going to agree with you. I've heard about Rich Hill before. Not really too much. He was never a superstar.
No.
Until now, if you want to call him that, he's having a really good season. Praise to him. I'm glad he's figured it out. Maybe he's the next Jamie Moyer. Can pitch till he's like 70.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, basically, with a guy like that at 36, you're really only wanting a half year. That starting pitcher you can depend on in a playoff run is very, very heavy looked after. Like,
that was sort of what happened with Oakland a couple years ago when they wanted to go get John Lester, and they got John Lester. He didn't turn out to be the pitcher that they had hoped him to be. But the idea is that, you get him for 2 months or 3 if you're going in the playoffs. And he's going to pitch for you for 3 months. And then after that, well, he's off into the sunset.
Yeah. And I also think with pitchers that are traded, it adds a little bit more to the offseason signings and stuff like that too. Sure. Because you really don't know where they're going to sign back to. I think if a player's with a team for so long, you can either tell by the way that they're playing on their interviews and stuff like that whether they're leaving or staying.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to add too much on Rich Hill because I really don't. I mean, I know of him. I don't know too much about him, but like you said, he's having a really good year, very sought after. Like you said, it's going to be a rental for like 2 months, and he probably is going to sign, somewhere low market, just trying to get paid. I mean,
yeah.
I don't see too many ball clubs taking a flyer on a 37-year-old pitcher
with injury issues. Yeah.
I mean, I praise to him. I mean, it's not your fault that your body's injury prone. I mean, sometimes that's just you just can't help that. But
life, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to him, and I hope nothing but the best for him, and hopefully he can go somewhere in an effective playoff race.
Yeah, agreed. My final point is the Texas Rangers. They have issues right now. I don't know how much you've been following them, but I've been following them for the past week or so, sort of digesting that team, I guess you could say. And I think they could be a team that goes after the Yankees' bullpen pieces and Rich Hill. It would be weird to see the A's trade Rich Hill within the division. I don't think they will. But I could see it happening. The Rangers' bullpen is right now pretty bad. They have a good closer in Sam Dyson. But other than that, they're having the same issues the Cardinals are having. It's just the fact that they're leading their division because it's a weaker division. And then with the starting pitching, that they have Yu Darvish and they have Cole Hamels, but they have nothing behind that. Martin Perez and God knows whoever else they have in that division isn't going to cut it. And even Yu Darvish is having injury issues. So I think, for me, if there's one team to watch this season in terms of buying, it's going to be the Rangers because they have issues when it comes to their pitching. Their offense is fine. But they do need pitching help, and they have typically been big spenders in the past. That's why they got Cole Hamels. That's why I got Prince Fielder for a while. So that is one team to watch, in my opinion. The other, Alex, and this is my final point, is the Cubs, because they also need bullpen help. And if they get one of those three players, it's going to be tough to beat them.
I think here we go. Prediction time, real quick, because you brought it up, so I'm kind of in a prediction kind of mode right now. Prediction time. I think the Cleveland Indians are going to be the biggest buyer at the deadline.
You think so? Okay.
I think man.
They seem to have it all together, or all put together this season. And if there is 1 year to start buying the crap out of everything, that was the year.
Yeah, they just beat the Royals today 11-4.
Yeah.
And I'm not – man, I really don't – because there's a difference between the biggest buyer and the biggest seller. Because the biggest seller is the amount of pieces you move. The biggest buyer, in my eyes, you win that award, if there's an award for that or whatever, by the size of the player. Not the amount of players you bring in, but the most impact players. So, like you said, Rich Hill to the Rangers, yeah, that would be pretty monumental. But I think that Jonathan Lucroy to the Indians is a little bit bigger.
I would agree with you on that, sure.
Now, if you say that, they got two bullpen pieces or a bullpen piece and Rich Hill, okay, maybe they're ahead. Mm-hmm. But I think your biggest sellers are going to be the White Sox. I think that they're going to sell. So? I think that I think Jed Jerko just hit another bomb. He did. He just hit another bomb.
He's been killing it.
Jed Jerko just hit another bomb, people. Like, against his former club. It's just killing the ball. But, yeah, I think your White Sox are going to be the biggest sellers. If they have any respect for the players that they have on that team, they need to sell. Sell. Get young talent out of it. Be prepared to have your team ready to go. Chris Sale and Jose Abreu, I think, in my mind, should go right away. Gone. I don't think there's any point.
I don't think they will, but they should, and that's a whole different argument. But yeah, that's a fair
and Tom
point.
Frazier. I think that those are the three big pieces that I think could move. Not saying that they will. I mean, this is a prediction. I'm not looking to a ball that says, hey, they're all going to move. But like real quick on your point, so we can wrap this up real quick. Yeah, I think that if the Rangers go out and get them a piece, get them a starting pitcher or a bullpen piece or both or three, if they got all three, which would be miraculous. Yeah, I mean that's a team that is really dangerous down the line. I don't know if the Astros could make a comeback to get back into that top, or the Mariners for that matter.
Astros could be buyers too. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean the Astros, in my mind, should be buyers. I mean that's one of the.
This is. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say that's one of the teams that I think should go after like a Chris Sale or a Todd Frazier. They have Alex Bregman, who is from LSU, who's supposed to be a shortstop for them, who's been raking in the minor leagues, has been doing everything they've asked of him and more, but he doesn't get an opportunity because it's kind of hard to do that when Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa are your up-the-middle duo.
Yeah, and the thing about this all is that this is just such a crapshoot. I mean, I just wouldn't be surprised if some team out of absolute nowhere goes to get Chapman or Miller. It's just like, the Indians going to get Chapman. Would you think of that? I don't. Thank God I don't get paid to be a GM. But so you have the Indians as the biggest buyers and the White Sox as the biggest sellers?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Rangers as the biggest buyers and the Yankees as the biggest sellers.
Okay. Basically, I would say out of the teams that we picked, I think those are the top two in each of those categories.
Sure, absolutely.
And just real quick, I personally do not see – I don't see the Cardinals making too many moves this year.
I think they'll make one or two.
Yeah, and it'll probably be small moves that'll pan out in the end, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, the Cardinals are really waiting for Peralta to get healthy and Carpenter to get healthy, and then they'll be back on the train. But they're beating up on a bad San Diego Padres team right now, and that's what they're supposed to do. So, It's going to be a fun deadline to watch. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I always like the trade.
It is always a fun time because you get all these teams trying to get into a bidding war for all these different players, and you don't know, what teams are going to go, or sorry, what players are going to go where, into what teams, and it's all fun to watch. Got about a week and a half.
It actually starts Monday. Trade deadline coverage starts Monday.
Okay. So we got about a week of full deadline stuff, and that's just going to be the talk of the league for about a week. And we're just now starting to feel it a little bit.
Yep, and you can find a lot of that deadline stuff. I go to MLB Network on I have DirecTV, so that's channel 213, I believe.
Real quick, and have you been to MLBTradeRumors.com? That's a great website.
I have not.
Go check them out, and they really do a great job of getting all the news out there. It's basically the online version of MLB Network.
Okay, so yeah, if you want the coverage all next week, I believe starting Monday, MLB Network is going to have coverage on the trade deadline, so I will be watching that. But I have nothing left for you, Paul.
No, that's all I got too. We'll be back on Sunday. We're going to do some more Cardinals talk. I want to talk about the hacking scandal and also the trade deadline, and just this past week in Cardinals baseball. But yeah, Alex, that's all I have for you. We will be back on Sunday. This is the 11th inning stretch MLB Weekend Review podcast. Thank you, and have a good one.
See ya.